the best league in the world.
Go on, take us away, Rob. Pro Leader. So I often we get Instagram notifications, and it's like so and so liked your reel, and more often than not, it's something we did absolutely ages ago, which is mainly Rob describing in some sort of good, clear detail as to why he loves Pro Leader. But for any new listeners, Rob, maybe do you want to, given we've had a bit of a hiatus as well, haven't we? Do you
Three
want to
weeks
take us
off.
through three
Ah,
weeks?
I think Pro Day Deux is like it's a caricature of itself, isn't it? It's just because people think of like French rugby, and this is, they think of like fights and cards and jouet and drama and dodgy refs and home fan support and all the music and the fans being raucous and everything like that. And Pro Day Deux is that like dialed up to the max, isn't it? And this season it's just been what has added an element of wild unpredictability that like defies logic every week. Like we do these predictions, and I just there's one each week where I think, well, that's never going to happen. Therefore, I'm going to predict that because that's where we're at with Pro Day Deux. It's like, what is the most logic defying result of this league? Okay, that probably will happen. It's remarkable this season, and the fact that it always used to be like home wins, like all home wins. That was the stereotype, and now it's one week it will all be home wins, and then it's the next week it's three away wins and a draw. It's just yeah. How would you sum up the season so far, Rich?
Well, I'd say largely what you've said there. You've got all of your kind of cliches and stereotypes, but I think there's far greater strength in depth across a lot of the squads, and it's meant that it's been a slightly more, dare I say, maybe slightly more interesting league than it has been in the past. Like genuinely, most teams capable of beating one another. Far more unexpected results this season than I can remember last year. I mean, obviously, in a league that long and that diverse, it's going to throw up a few shocks now and then. But it's been sort of, I think the volume of away wins is probably over twofold what it was last year with 6 rounds to go. So yeah, not only has it had that that kind of wild westness that we love, but there's been some fantastic rugby as well. And I think probably at the start of the season felt that the two teams that would be like right front and center of going back up were certainly I thought Oyonnax and Brive and obviously Brive are up there, but they are not the premier team in Pro League at the moment. It's very much Grenoble. And Oyonnax have struggled and actually been on a bit of a run of late that's kind of got them back into something resembling a bit of respectability, having been staring over their shoulder with some of the teams with tiny budgets and you kind of have to moneyball it a bit. So yeah, it's been a great season, and I've no doubt now it will get as it's getting even more business endy. We'll see even more away games. We'll see even more sort of. There's always a sting in the tail as well as we saw last year with Rouen. And whilst I think unfortunately Nice are probably done for, the bottom of the league in that barrage spot with National is is fascinating.
Yeah, I think we saw this weekend in the top 14 how like squeaky it had become. That was a really squeaky set of results generally in the top 14. And I think Pro Day Deux, there's 7 rounds to go. So same amount as we pretty much same amount as we had in the top 14. And I think it's so tight. Well, it's so tight in different sections. So in the same way that we had three different sections in the top 14 that we kind of identified, which now have been blown into the air. But Pro Day Dirt, it does seem like we've got a top half and a bottom half with the top seven all in with a shout with the barrage. Someone in that top seven isn't going to make it. So the league works the same way as the top 14 does, in that you have a top two go through to the semi-finals, which is actually a home semi-final, like genuinely at home. There's the barrage, so third to sixth go into what is effectively a quarter final, with third playing sixth and fourth playing fifth. And at home, those third and fourth place sides, they go into the barrage. They play the semi-finals. The winner of those plays semi-finals. Semi-finals go through to the final in a neutral venue, which is the Stade Ernest Vallon. The winner of the Pro Day final gets automatically promoted. The losing finalist of the Pro Day final plays the access match against the 13th place side in the top 14. As of last year, down the bottom, there is also now an access match for 15th. So previously that was automatic relegation. 16th is automatic relegation. And I think looking at like we just did with the top 14, the last few 15th and 16th place sides doesn't bode well. So Valence, so 2021 or 2020, 2021, Valence and Saxby finished 15th. They are obviously now current in the league. Saxby came straight back up. Valence took a couple of seasons. But after that, 21, 22, Bourg-en-Bresse and Narbonne. Narbonne, who narrowly missed out on the access match last year to losing against Montauban. 2022, 2023, Carcassonne and Massy, who are now only just about starting to show signs that they might come back up. And last year, Montauban won the first ever access match at Narbonne, and Rouen, who are not guaranteed to come straight back up themselves. I think they're third in National. So similarly, well, Nice we think might be doing it differently, but if you are that 15th place side, having that access match, who knows which way it's going to go, but it's a little bit of jeopardy because you don't quite know, because National is now so competitive below it, you don't quite know whether you're going to come straight back up if you go down. So there's a hell of a lot riding on it, and there are about 7 teams that could end up in that 15th place. I think it's something like 4 points between Aurillac are currently in 15th on 42 points, and Dax in 10th are on 48. So there's not much to play for in that 15th. I think Nice are pretty much down. They are 20 points behind Aurillac with 7 games to go. That would be remarkable if somehow they didn't finish bottom. But yeah, so much to play for and so much riding on it because Pro D2 has so much money compared to, well, it has so much money full stop, but it has the TV deals, it has that. So to drop down out of that, it actually is getting quite financially significant.
Yeah, definitely. So where do we think? Obviously, we've got the round 24, I think it is, coming up of 400. If you had to make a couple of calls now as to who you think might be in that 15th and perhaps at the top end, who's gonna make those like home, well, the home semi-finals or home barrage, and I suppose more importantly the kind of top two. If you had to pin your colours to the mast, what are you thinking?
I'm going to stick my neck on the line and say Grenoble are going to be in the top two.
I
Grenoble,
think
who
that's
are
fair.
currently 10 points clear at the top. 12
Second
points clear at
place,
the top. Yeah. Second place,
having lost
I
last game as well, extraordinary.
I think second place will be Brive because Provence they play Provence at home at some point in the next few weeks. And I
Yeah,
think that's the key one. They're the two teams of that top 7. They are out Grenoble, and then I think they are the two next best, it would seem. I think Béziers, Montauban, Saxby, and Colomiers are all pretty even generally. And I think Provence and Brive they've just got a little bit more star power. You only need to look at the team sheets with some of the names. You've got a couple of Lions and Test Centurions in the respective sides there. So in
yeah,
George North and Courtney Laws, but also like a bloke that beat the All Blacks last year in Matthias Moroni, just casually filling in into the centres for Brive. Yeah, I think they've just got a little bit more star power, those, and so much
I think
depth.
so.
Provence got
Yeah,
loads of depth.
yeah, agreed. I think actually
Who are you
the
going for second?
oh, I mean, it's one of those two. I think maybe Provence, just based on just the kind of overwhelming quality across their team, and they haven't suffered too many like shock results. They haven't had too many blips. If that makes sense. Whereas Brive have had a couple of like slightly unusual wobbles and things like that. Although I'd probably agree that maybe the Brief squad is a little bit stronger. But I think those two teams are, as you said, I mean, coaches have to juggle their pack, don't they, throughout the year. And that's, I think, one of the things that keeps it tight. I think towards this kind of business end, we might see those two like actually like properly stretched clear of
They've had
kind
a
of
good break
Bezier,
as well.
Montauban. Yeah, I think, or at least in theory, I think they should do. I think, like, I think they should be kind of leaving. Certainly, Montauban and Sawyer Angoulême, as much as we love them, should be, in theory, leaving them for dust at this end of the
Yeah.
season. But who
Breve
knows?
Breve also made a late charge last year. They were one of the form teams coming into that. They snuck into sixth, didn't they? And they very
Yeah.
nearly beat I can't remember Van. No, yeah, very nearly beat
No, Van
someone.
would have been, yeah. Who came third last year? Bezier? I don't know.
Yes, yeah. It was Breve v Bezier. Um, and they very nearly beat them, or they did beat. I can't remember. Anyway, I think speaking of Bezier, I think they will be the team that will be the unlucky one finishing in seventh,
Yeah,
which is
interesting.
bold given that they're currently fourth, but they have away games at Dax, Provence, and Montauban. So Dax were pretty good earlier in the season, but they should hopefully have got their act together a bit by again after the break. But to go away to Provence, I can't see them winning that. Montauban away, that's going to be that could well be a winner takes all sort of thing. They also have their last game is at home to Breve, and who knows what Breve will be playing for, what side they'll send at that point. The other like Soyunculem and Colombia have pretty similar fixtures, and I think therefore Soyunculem just like have being a few points ahead of Colombia, hopefully touchwood, going to be all right. Montauban have a lot of they're the key team here. They within this last seven they go away to Breve. No, they have to go away to Soyunculem, but they have Bezier, Colomiers, and Breve all at home. So they have a tough set of fixtures, but they're going to play the key part in deciding that top seven. It's going to be it's going to come down to the last game. Like it's going to come
Yeah,
down to that Bezier
definitely.
Breve game.
Yeah, 100%. And probably at the bottom end of the table as well, right? You can't see anyone getting kind of cut adrift as a Nice Mark deux unless something unusual happens.
Valence Romans have an absolutely horrible set of fixtures coming up. They have Provence at home, Breve away, Grenoble at home, and they finish with Soyunculem at home. So that's not nice. I think
God,
Mont de Marsan v Agen is on the last game of the season, and
wow.
that's the two most unpredictable sides in the league who could
Yeah,
both be needing a win to not be 15th. That could be absolute carnage. Um, I think Aurillac have probably got the better set of fixtures. Nevers have Grenoble away for the last game of the season, so they need to kind of get done before the last game of the season, you'd think.
well, or
Um,
Grenoble rest everyone, like
I don't think it will matter. I think their
depending
squad
on
is at home. They've not lost all season. They're basically getting a bonus point every game. They've got such a
maybe.
deep squad. They're going to be way too good for Nevers. But I think it's between Argen, Mont de Marsan, and Valence Romans for me.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Argen. I'm going to put my nails on them, pin my colours somewhere else. Argen.
I just can't see it. I think it'll be Valence, unfortunately.